This is Sean Caston, and we are live today on Wow Factor. In the studio today, we have Kody Kernan. That's how we say that, right?
That's right.
Kody is an OCB pro bodybuilder. Tell the audience what OCB pro means.
OCB is a natural, drug-tested, polygraphed bodybuilding organization. Just a national organization. It's not quite international yet, but definitely gaining traction.
Awesome. But to get your OCB pro card, what is, I know I'm familiar more with IFBB, so I know you got to go through a show, then you got nationals, then you qualify. Once you've qualified for nationals, you go and you win your class. So I think it's first or second, you get your pro card. So how is that in the OCB world?
In the OCB, you just have to win a regional show as long as they meet a certain amount of competitors, then you can win your pro card as long as you win the show and the overall.
Awesome. Good experience.
Yes, it was my first show. It was very stressful, but pulled out the win.
Yeah, and you did it naturally.
Yes, naturally.
No help?
I had a posing coach, and that helped quite a bit. I handle most of the nutrition myself because I kind of have a background with nutrition. I'm 3 years into a dietetics program at UNC. So, but my coach was definitely instrumental in my posing.
Very good. Well, was this your first show?
Yes, I prepped for a show last year, but I tore my pec about 2 weeks before the show. So unfortunately, I had to drop it. So this year was my first show. Second prep, first show.
Very good showing.
Yes.
Sure, there was a lot of upset people that this was your first show.
Yeah, there was a couple posts about, people making excuses. He was older and he had more experience or whatever, but that's okay.
Hey, excuses are made by people that couldn't win.
Absolutely.
Right. We're all masters of our own destiny.
For sure.
All right, Kody. Let's go into a little bit. We went into your pro bodybuilder background here. Just tell me a little bit about Kody. What makes Kody Kody?
I'm just an average guy from a small town in West Virginia. I'm married. I love my family. I love my dogs.
How long have you been married?
3 years and 8 months.
3 years and 8 months. And how long were you guys together?
We were together for maybe 2 years before that. So about 5 years altogether.
Okay. I'm going to get a little personal. Just, the audience loves personal. Was it love at first sight or did it take a while?
It was like we had a really good first date.
Cody's wife.
But she kind of ghosted me for a couple of weeks and finally hit me back and we had a second date and the rest was history.
Well, that's good. She ghosted you. Did she tell you why she ghosted you?
Well, we actually met on Tinder. So
now we're getting some realism here. Okay.
Yeah. So our first date, it was a great date, but I think in her mind, it was kind of a one-time thing. And after that second time, it was, we were hooked.
Very good. And you've been going strong ever since?
Ever since.
Any plans to have kids?
Yes, definitely. I'd like to get a house, settle down first. But definitely thinking about it.
What does she think of the bodybuilding world?
She is learning. It was definitely a little bit tough for her during the prep. I was definitely hangry at times and focused, so I wasn't there all the time. So it was a little bit stressful for her, but we made it work and we learned a lot together and next prep will be better.
Awesome. I've been in the sport a long time myself, and you make it through prep together, it's probably going to last a long time. Okay, so we got Kody married, wife is supportive of the sport, ups and downs. What other things do you want us to know about you?
In my free time outside of the gym, we like to play Xbox together. We like to go on hikes. We like to do some target shooting up at Liberty.
Okay.
Honestly, any time spent together is time well spent.
Very good.
We really are best friends.
That's great. You recently came on with us here at Workout West. How long have you been here now?
About 5 weeks now. Started that first week of October.
Right. Okay. And people that see you in the club, what's the easiest way they're going to recognize you?
I will always be running around with my clients. So if you see me running up and down the stairs, making sure all my clients are ready to go, and you know I'm working.
And he's being a little shy because we've had a couple people say, "Hey, who is that beast?"
Yeah, I definitely stay humble as much as I can.
Yeah. Well, humble's a good thing, but you definitely worked hard for what you're doing, and people are recognizing it. So, outside of bodybuilding, Xbox, hiking, target shooting, do you have any favorite books, movies, music?
I'm not a big movie guy.
Uh-huh.
I definitely enjoy action movies, though. You know, Rambo, Terminator, that kind of thing.
Okay.
Grew up on that type of stuff.
Is that why you like shooting guns?
It might be part of it. It might be part of why I got into bodybuilding.
Yeah.
I definitely didn't read a whole lot as a younger man, but recently I've been picking up a lot of nonfiction. Right now I'm reading Herodotus, Greek historian from 500 BC. So I definitely like to learn when I can, when I read.
Nice.
As far as music, I love music. Do a lot of rock, metal. I do some blues. I like older country. Pretty good mix. Depends on the mood for sure.
Very good. Diverse set of styles there. I mean, you've already mentioned one really big milestone. Obviously, you are a pro bodybuilder. Are there other achievements maybe that you've accomplished that might even make that look like a distant shadow? Do you have some milestones in your life that you'd like to share with our crowd?
I used to wrestle in high school. My junior year, I managed to win the state title. And what kind of sticks out to me in my mind about that is I wrestled every single placer in that tournament, either at the regional tournament or at the state tournament. So I feel like I really earned that title.
So you beat everybody multiple times. Is what you're saying.
Everybody that placed, I beat them.
All right, that is awesome. You know, doing the same thing in wrestling you did in bodybuilding. You step on stage, you beat everybody.
Yes.
What kind of challenging situations have you had in your life?
I've had some pretty tough financial times. I've had to take a change jar to the grocery store to get groceries. I've had to walk to work at times, but it taught me to never give up, work hard, and to appreciate what you have, because you never know what could happen.
Awesome. You mentioned financial struggling, and that's a common theme of the world in total right now. What advice might you have for somebody that is digging into their armrests, looking for that last quarter so they can put a millionth of a tank of gas in their car?
Just know it's not going to be like this forever. Keep working hard. Finding somebody that you can lean on really makes a difference. It'd be much harder to do this if you were on your own.
What about the people that are on their own? They're, not everybody's as lucky as you to find a wife that can support them, or maybe not even have any friends. What advice would you give that guy or gal that they do have to do it themselves?
That's tough. It can definitely feel like there's no light at the end of the tunnel. Keep working hard. Find something outside of money that you can give your attention to, give your energy to, that can keep you happy, keep you focused on something that's not just money. But that's tough. I don't know if there's a really good answer for that.
Yeah, well, I'd go as far as saying money's not everything. And
absolutely.
The struggle of money pales in comparison to the struggle of life.
Yes. I've had some emotional difficulties in the past, and having financial problems can definitely magnify that. But you got to take care of yourself first. Money definitely comes second.
You can always make more money. You can't make more time.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. All right. And you were from West Virginia, so obviously you traveled to Colorado.
Right.
What other traveling have you done in your life?
Let's talk about that. That was a 25-hour drive.
Okay.
I didn't have any AC. It was in August. I didn't have a radio.
So when you said financially struggling, you were financially struggling.
Absolutely. We were worried that cars weren't going to make it at all, but we got here. It was a long ride, but we made it work. We didn't even have an apartment lined up. We figured that out on the way here, okay. Just calling places and set that up as we were coming.
That's one heck of a travel experience.
Yeah, we were going to do anything we had to do to get out of Maryland. We were in Maryland at the time, get out of there and get settled somewhere else and start our own thing.
So you just kind of packed everything up and said, let's do this.
Absolutely.
Landed on your feet, obviously.
Yes, we were fortunate enough to find jobs as soon as we got here. So we were able to make it work.
All right. Well, when you did land here, what was the first job that you had?
I was detailing over at Colorado Boat Center.
Okay.
It was a tough job, but it got the bills paid and helped me kind of get back on my feet so I could get started back up at school. Unfortunately, they laid me off when I did start school. So that's actually kind of how I got into personal training. I'm somebody who's very introverted, and personal training can definitely be scary for somebody like me. But I got my foot in the door and I kind of fought through those fears and made it work.
Awesome. Well, introvert is something you can work on.
Yes, it takes time, but you can absolutely do it.
You got on stage in your underwear in front of how many people?
Right.
You don't have a lot of room to be introverted when you're doing that.
Yeah.
I assume, bodybuilding is probably something you're passionate about. But there's plenty of other things. We talked about free time, Xbox, hikes, targeting, target shooting, that type of thing. But do you have any real deep, passionate interests that are not just bodybuilding or shooting guns?
Right. It might be obvious, but I'm super passionate about nutrition. Mm-hmm. It's an industry that has been very diluted, very deceitful. Everybody's trying to sell you something, so it can be very hard to filter through and find what's true. And I just want to educate people on that and help people.
Let's expand on that a little bit because my background is also in nutrition and health and exercise sciences, and I see a lot of the same things you're seeing. But in your mind, what do you see out there that I don't want to use the word worst because there's a lot of worst out there right now. The number one thing that you're seeing that people are being misled on that could potentially even be causing them harm?
I think social media is a big part of that.
As we're on a podcast on social media.
Right. People are quick to Photoshop and filter, and they only post the best pictures. Mm-hmm. And it can create really unrealistic expectations for the average person that doesn't know or doesn't realize that those things are happening.
So you're saying you never Photoshopped your pictures?
Never.
And I'll agree with you. There's actually, I won't name his name, but I follow a very famous Instagram guy that all he does is point out everybody's Photoshop stuff. And
Goob?
That's who it is.
That's the guy, yeah.
Yep. Shout out to Goob. But I love the fact that he calls all these people out on shrinking their rib cages and blowing up their delts, because at the end of the day, most of these people we're seeing online that are influencers truly are not influencers. They're Photoshop pictures.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think there just needs to be more clarity for that.
I love the accountability he gives to these people. If we weren't such a family facility, I might be inclined to do the same thing.
Right.
But I'll leave it to Goob. He's the man when it comes to that. Now, as far as values and work, team environment, what do you find most important to you when you enter, you came to work out West for a reason. Why did you land here, and what makes it something that fits into your values and something you enjoy?
I think communication is probably the most important thing to build relationships with. I would say that my marriage has definitely helped teach me that. It can be easy to misinterpret people, especially if it's in writing or it's in text. So being able to communicate effectively and kind of stay on the same page is definitely a game changer.
You mentioned text, and I always like to laugh at some of this stuff. So give me an example of a text that you sent out that somebody completely took the wrong way.
Um,
And then I'll tell you mine.
yeah, I can't think of a specific one, but I know there's been times with my mom where things weren't quite read the way they were intended to be, and it created conflict that wasn't necessary. I wish I could be more specific.
Completely understand. I find myself a lot. I'm pretty dry when it comes to text because I want to get the point across. And the number one thing that I've realized, and I no longer do it, is I would send a thumbs up. Like somebody sends me something, and I just give them a thumbs up. Well, a lot of people take that as a dismissal of like, yeah, whatever, he's not really reading it. So miscommunication wise, a simple thumbs up has turned in the past into a huge argument about, well, you don't really care what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So I've had to learn to be a little more tactful and say, oh, thanks for sending that. I appreciate that, rather than just a simple emoji thumbs up. Sometimes that's all it takes to set somebody off.
Something my mom will do, she'll just say like K or okay after something. And I know she means well, but I've known her long enough to know that that's fine, but maybe somebody else would read that and be like, why is she mad at me?
Right. So everybody that's listening to this now, if you ever text Kody, make sure your response is K. You mentioned the dietetics. Now, is there a goal that you're working with towards that degree?
As far as utilizing that degree,
yeah.
I don't have a very specific goal in mind. I kind of just want as many tools in the toolbox as possible. Trying to keep my options open. I don't have a specific path that I plan to follow. I would love to stay in the industry. I'm really enjoying personal training, so anything I can do to improve that is a bonus.
Okay. Going into that nutrition world, obviously neither one of us, you don't have your degree yet. I'm not a registered nutritionist. But bodybuilding compared to what they're teaching you in school, how do those align? You read this stuff online and they're telling you need 500 grams of protein and 50 grams of carbs. That's the only way you're going to be ripped and shredded. What are you finding in that world?
The truth is usually somewhere in the middle. I find that what they're teaching is kind of what the government is telling them to teach. They are still acting like natural animal fats are bad. Protein is bad. Beef is bad. Eggs are bad. Egg raises cholesterol, and it's all it's simply not true. There's been plenty of studies that have debunked these things.
Well, they change it every month, so what are you going to believe?
Exactly.
1 week eggs lower your cholesterol, and the next week you're going to die if you have one.
Going back to people not knowing what's true, it really muddies the waters when they're teaching things that are inaccurate. So I would suggest everybody do some of their own research. In general, whole foods are always going to be the best option. Closer to the farm, the better.
Awesome. We're getting close to the end here, but I don't want to leave without, everybody's going to want to know how did Kody work out to be a pro bodybuilder? Everybody wants to know what's the plan? What do I need to do? So I'm going to turn that to you and just say, Kody, how did you build the muscle that you built as a natural as well? Because I know there's difference in rest periods and stuff like that going from versus natural versus enhanced. But give these young kids who want to do what you did a general idea of what you did to get here.
I would recommend everybody stay natural for as long as they can, unless you plan on competing at a high level. I would never touch this stuff. It takes a long time to build muscle naturally. So if you hit a plateau, even if it's 6 months, you got to keep pushing, because it just takes longer to build muscle naturally. Focus on sleep, focus on stress management. Recovery is big. A lot of people miss that. They think that they are growing muscles in the gym, but reality is that's just the stimulus. You gotta give your body rest. You gotta give it the proper nutrients. So it's a balancing act. Training, nutrition, sleep. It depends on the person for sure. A lot of people have different schedules, different lifestyles. So the best workout plan isn't going to work if you can't stick to it. So you have to find what works for you.
When you were getting ready for this last show where you got your pro card, how many hours a day, how many days a week, what did your training look like?
In general, I'm training every other day, push-pull legs. I'll have a light warm-up set followed by a moderate working set, and I'll do one set to failure, and often beyond failure, with partial negatives, cheat reps, drop sets, anything to increase the intensity. It's all about that one set.
And that's one of the points I want to get across to our audience. You said you're training every other day.
Yes, a lot of people think they have to train 5-6 days a week. And you can do that if you manage your volume and your intensity, because it's kind of a continuum. You can do more intensity like I do. You can do less intensity and do more volume, but you have to balance it, because like I said earlier, it's all about that recovery.
So if you were to tell a young, I don't know, say 16-year-old who's just getting into this world, you would tell him to make sure he's getting a rest day in between every workout?
I would suggest that if they're training similar to what I'm doing. I find that a lot of people don't, even when they think they're training to failure, they're really not. I've seen this in a lot of my clients. I'll instruct them to do as many reps as they can, and then just by coaching them, I can squeeze out 4 or 5, sometimes 10 reps on certain exercises. So it's really important to know how hard you're actually training.
Yeah, I think it's human nature that one thing that people that I've worked with in the past that have helped me, we're also focused on a number. If your program says 10 reps, you'll stop at 10. But most people have another 4 in the tank.
Right.
So pushing past that limit and then resting.
Yes. You grow when you rest. I can't overstate that.
Awesome. What other advice, and it could be personal, professional, bodybuilding, what other advice do you have for our listeners that you'd like to leave here and know that you've said this to them? And, if we get, God, I hope we get 1 million people listening, but if we get 1 million people listening that even one of them took something away from this, what would you want them to take away from today?
Try to be a better person in every way, not just physically in the gym. Try to be smarter, pick up a book, learn something, be a nicer person, do something nice for somebody, buy somebody lunch. Just try to be a well-rounded person.
Very good. Do you have any other things that you want our audience to know about you?
No, I don't think so.
All right. I was pretty thorough. I think people got a good glimpse of who Kody is. And I wanted to bring you on today because you're a great addition to the team. We love having you here as part of the family. Hopefully, if you guys are listening, I'm going to throw this in now. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe so that you can keep getting these things. And when you see Kody in the gym, look for the beast. You'll see him in here. Make sure you walk up to him, shake his hand. Even if he's working out, he's always going to take the time at least to say hi, and just don't monopolize his time and make him miss his workout. But please say hi to Kody. Kody, it was great having you on here.
It was great I'm sorry. It was great to be here. I appreciate you having me.
Yeah. And those of you that can't see Kody's face right now, he definitely is an introvert, but that's okay because we got him to talk and you got to know a little bit who he is. And we look forward to seeing more people in here in the future. And maybe my shout out to Goob. Maybe we'll get Goob to come on.
Yeah, that's what we need.
We can do something with him. So Goob, we're going to keep shouting you out. All right, everybody, have a good day. Until next time, thanks for listening to Wow Factor.